Hello, my lovely Leaves. Welcome to Vivid Vibration. My name is Christina. I hope that y'all are doing well. Leaves, you have the creator and the nectar, the poet, the ocean, the mystic, the flame, the kiss, Kairos, and the shadow. Leaves. I mean, you have a lot of positive cards here. The creator, the poet. I feel like there's finding beauty in a situation. I feel like finding lessons along the way. I mean, if you think about like the idea of poetry, and like we study poetry, and it's painful, and it's gritty, and it's raw, and it's sexual, and it's, you know, like it's angry, and it's in love and passionate, and, you know, I mean, like there's like no human emotion that poetry can't touch. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's an idea of almost being emotionally numb. And I don't know, I just feel like this like emotional armor, which is interesting because that's like, so one of my theory classes is like, we were talking about, I can't remember who it was, though I wish I could remember, but a philosopher who said that like people's muscles will be tight, you know, like where they like flinch at touch, you know, and like this emotional armor. And I feel like breaking this emotional armor down is allowing for you to really see the beauty in what it like in the emotions that you were locking in, that you weren't allowing yourself to experience. You know, I just feel like this emotional lockdown that you're releasing, that's allowing you to create, because you're allowing yourself to tap into that emotional side of you. You know, whether that's one of my friends, he's a Leaf, he sent me this terrible, everything that he sends me is terrible. I'm like almost like, well, I'm just gonna stop opening these. You know, like, why? but you know, like music, or, you know, art, or, you know, like something that you're really passionate about. You know, like if you want to create, like you're trying to create, I don't know, like I feel like some kind of design, you know, but just the sense of like, I want to create, and I haven't been able to create because I've been locked, my emotions have been in lockdown. But it's almost like somehow bearing witness to the way that you kept yourself locked away, and gaining an insight into yourself that is enabling you to find balance, and I think engage in intimacy, because there's a real concept here of like emotional armor that prevents you from creating from that raw human experience of your life. Leaps. Okay. My air signs are like intense, but in a different way than my water signs were. Okay. Leaps. The moon, the Four of Pentacles, the Four of Cups, the King of Cups, and the Six of Wands. Well, you know, again, that emotional armor, because if you can't tap into like the raw experience of something, then you create these like blockaded, like weird facade experiences. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I don't know what's happening here. You know what I mean? But it feels manipulative, and there's a lot of lack, you know? And I think that like you've been watching yourself bear the consequences of this behavior. And I think you've started to notice a pattern that's enabling you to really understand like where the root of this pattern is, and allowing you again to tap into, I just feel like this emotional, like raw emotional experience that allows you to move forward with the creativity that demonstrates understanding and insight. Leaves. That deserved a little dance. Seven of Cups. Justice. Oof. Five of Swords. Three of Cups. The Lovers. The Six of Wands. I do think that there's like, again, with this whole like emotional wall, this emotional barrier that just leaves you feeling under attack, leaves other people feeling under attack. Because why the emotional armor? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just think of like, if it's a relationship and you want somebody to like have this relationship with you, I almost get this idea of like, why aren't you passionately in love with me? And the person being like, because you've never let me in. Not really. You know what I mean? Like, why would I be in love with you? You know what I mean? Like you do nothing but withhold from me. And it's just kind of this, like, I think just like having that happen in your life enough times where you start to really wake up to the idea that like, well, maybe I can't have these relationships that oh, I love love and oh, I love relationships and oh, da 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 da. But you have an emotional armor that's so thick and so, you know, like unbreakable that it's like people can't actually engage in this. And it's frustrating when they hear you talk about it and then they see you keep them out and away from that experience with you. And that's a you thing, not a them thing, but they probably all think it's a them thing. You know what I mean? Unless you're dealing with somebody who has a lot of emotional intelligence and they realize that it's you and not them. But do you know what I mean? It depends on my leaves and who you surround yourself with, you know? But I think that you're able to bring that into justice and call into what you really want. Because I think sometimes we have to go through lessons a few times before we actually have an opportunity to engage in something with some, especially if it's a relationship. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't make that mistake with the person who you actually, like, if the universe has somebody for us, let's say, I don't know how I feel about that, but if you're of the mentality that you've manifested this relationship, then I think part of that process has been you having to learn that you have an emotional armor that prevents you from engaging in a relationship that you idealize but prevent from occurring. And that's beautiful, Leaves. I fucking love this. Okay. Let's see what else we can get for y'all. Okay. The Four of Wands, the Six of Pentacles, the Knave of Wands, the Knave of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, Strength, the Three of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. Well, I do kind of, I mean, the Six of Pentacles isn't an innately bad card, but it reads as, you know, like steal from Peter to give to Paul. And if you've been dealing in relationships where it's like I can't be emotionally vulnerable with you because, you know, like I was too emotionally vulnerable here, and so I have to block this off there. And do you know what I mean? Like there's almost just this weird, like it just doesn't feel like a even flow. You know what I mean? Like energy should flow freely, and this just feels very chopped up and pieced out, and you know, like, and nobody gets to really experience a whole version of me because I can only allow those experiences and these occasions on this, and you know, and then you have your list of reasons why, you know, you keep your emotional armor up. But again, I do feel like you have faced it in a way that's, I think, given you the strength that you needed to move past it. You know, because two knaves is not like it's not a king energy. And you do have the King of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles, but I just kind of feel like you have to step forward, you know, like with action before you're really going to, I think, be able to dive into an experience. Because I think once you tap into that like raw human emotion, those raw human experiences, you seem to be, I kind of get this idea of like, of working with someone or coming into a relationship with someone who allows for you to tap into like creative channels that you hadn't previously had access to. And a lot of that has to do with allowing yourself the experience of raw human emotion and raw human experience, you know? Like, otherwise, what's the point? You know what I mean, though? All right, leaves. Let's do one last card for y'all. We'll call it a read. The Siren. The Siren has been coming out in a lot of my reads, these past reads. But again, I just feel like this idea of like diving down into an experience and experiencing like a world of creative outlets. You know what I mean? Where you can tap into all of these things, where you're not just the guy who sits around talking about, oh, well, if I did this, I would blow up, while he hates on people who are actually doing the work. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to be around that guy or girl or whatever. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's been like, that's where you can, that's as far as you can go, because you won't allow yourself to tap into that raw emotional experience. And I think there's a little bit of that. Well, those aren't people who were going to be raw emotional and I had to do that. Well, I mean, I guess, but that's what you chose to do. That's the only reason you had to do it. You know what I mean? So like, don't justify it, move past it. But anyways, leaves, if this does resonate with y'all, please give me a like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye.